print is able to carry the load here and the upload and do it live. The live videos seem to be not so good quality, so I might have to start doing them edited again. I hate to do that, it's a lot more work, but they come out a lot better. We'll see. Information, transformation, and alchemy. We think it's the information age, and we've kind of addicted ourselves to thinking that information is knowledge, that we think that if we know regurgitated facts, that's how we're taught in schools. If you can puke up the facts that are shoved down your throat, like a baby bird, they're all sitting with their mouths like that, and mom shoves the worms down their throats, right? But we get that in Psychology 101 class. And then if you puke it back up on the test, you get an A and you look good, and it satisfies the ego mind, and it creates a messed up culture that is addicted to thinking that information is power. And then you keep repeating it, and yet we're headed for our destruction. Everything is destroying itself. The religions, the medicine, the lawyer system, the political system. Have you noticed that lately? That there's a kind of a self-destruct thing going on lately? This is, whatever date this is. And everywhere else, in the spiritual circles too. So everything has its perfect timing and place. But one thing you may want to be cognizant or aware of is information creates armies. You march in information. I'm kidding. It creates mind only. It's information mind. It's mind fuck. But information is important, but it's just one chakra, maybe 1.5. That's it. The third eye and the crown a little bit. That's information. What about the rest? What about your throat, your heart, your belly, your sex, your root chakra? I got a couple more coming. Maybe. So there's many teachers out there. I'm going through the transformation alchemy at another level for me this last year, which is pretty intense. You're being reborn. When shamans go through their initiations, many of them die. They check out. I died a couple of times this last year. And so the actual alchemy, you're actually changing your DNA, your very cells, your whole alchemy, your chemistry. Alchemy is the A-L-K-E-M-Y is the original name for Egypt. Alchemy, the place of transformation, the place of transmutation, the place of alchemy. And so everything has its time and place. Like I don't prepare anything now when I do talks or presentations or whatever. We might have a loose structure. If we're doing the Course of Awakening, we're going to teach the methods. But how that happens is very loose and spontaneous in the moment. So information is like the syllabus. We're going to do this week 1, week 2. Everyone takes notes. They regurgitate it. That's mind stuff. That's not alchemy. That's not transmuting the lead or the stuff in our physical bodies into gold. We're not that's why also the Egyptians had the bread of life. Those white cakes they hold up to the sun is actually orme, O-R-M-E, orbitally rearranged monoatomic elements. There's several of them, rhodium, palladium, platinum, I think. And you can give them an ascended state. Just like a flower, this little flower is the ascended crowning of the plant. Flowers are the enlightenment symbol of the plant, meaning they've crowned. They're expressing, they're flowing. The energy is moving, the chem is moving. So information, a lot of teachers are here that share perfect information. I'm doing that right now. I'm sharing the information. And that can be a blessed and supported, overlit, guided state. Many teachers, I've been watching one, no names shall be named, and I can tell her information is awesome. It's beautiful, loved it, but she didn't do the alchemy in herself. And I'm not saying you should. There's a right time for being a student, writing it down. There's a right time for just putting your toes in it. There's a right time to be a teacher that just shares information because they need to learn it themselves. You teach what you need to learn, right? And then eventually it reaches the place of Shiva Shambho, or in the twinkling of an eye, Jesus talks about. You shall be transformed. You shall be born again. Your mind shall be renewed. You die daily. Many ways to say it. Buddha, there is no history, no erasing personal history, Don Juan stuff. By the way, in my opinion, Don Juan was real, and he had a clever way of disappearing, which is to put out that. It's a great way to camouflage yourself. There's many ways to camouflage yourself. Most teachers, we get excited, and then we go, oh, I got to teach this to the world. But they stop working on themselves. So an alchemical teacher, a master, a guru, a dispeller of darkness, and not the fake gurus, is very different. Being in their very energy. If Jesus shows up, he's shown up for me twice in my life. I've met sheep. You know, you can meet these masters. Ayahuasca, Pele, you know, Mataji. Many women, many men, many thousands of saints are awakened beings, you know. Being in their presence, if you are open, it's like a tuning fork with many tones. It will affect you. It can transmute, alchemize you. This is the concept of darshan in the Vedic yogic tradition, that just the sight of an awakened being will impact you and start sowing the seed for transformation in you. This works. Again, most darshans are fake. 85% are or not fake. They're just wishing and hoping and praying that we can get to heaven by doing the ritual. The ritual is different than the chemi, the alchemy, the true internal transmutation. So just be aware of that. Okay, this is a great teacher. I'm watching her. Great info. She's channeling it perfectly. Her guides are right on her own higher self, her multiple lifetimes, or, you know, whatever. But she's not for herself. That's why often channelers and mediums or gurus and teachers, you look at their personal life, they eat like shit, they get fat, or their body's crappy, or, you know. It's a time to be fat, by the way. I'm not judging that. We're way too strict on that. You know, Gabby here is kind of a chunky dog, but she needs to be. That's her energy. And Allie's much thinner, but we shouldn't worship Allie. That's stupid. That's the whole weird body image problems. No, every body image has its right place. But it has to do with sloth and disconnectedness. If you're not connected to the river of alchemy, of transmutation, the old one is lead into gold. And it's no accident the Egyptians are holding those cakes up there, because they have actually had the gold pop. You know when you pop popcorn, it turns into a white puffy thing? Okay, it's kind of like that. It's the best image we have. Gold changes. It's orbitally rearranged molecular energy. It changes into a new form. It flowers. The gold flowers into this white powder. Now you have to be very careful with it. There's a little remnant in the Bible when Moses is pissed off up on Mount Sinai, because they're all, you know, stuck on worshiping the old idols when he comes down the first time. He's so pissed, he takes some gold and pours it down their throat. That's not liquid gold. It's not, you know, people go, that'll kill people, you know, if you pour liquid, burnt, really hot gold. No. He's an Egyptian initiate. And so he's been through the white gold, the white powdered gold initiation as an activation, just like the Taoist monks do. I'm giving you information now. This video is information, very little alchemy. If I did alchemy with you, we would sit, or you don't have to do it in person, by the way. We would be, and I would guide gently into a state where you could let in. And then hopefully you would get it and go and do it yourself. I used to be so fanatic, I'd only do one session with people. I go, absolutely no dependency, stay away from me. And God said, let people do a few sessions with you. It's okay, Tobias, right? But from my past of other lifetimes of developing followings and thinking it was important, and see, it's a real trap to think that information will get you there. It'll get you somewhere. It'll get you to the starting gate. It's like reading about when does the race start, read about it. But actually going running or swimming or doing it, that's very different. So many teachers are here for information. Most teachers are just delivering information. A few are bridging the gap. This is how it always is. When you're ready for transformation, alchemy, your teacher you'll find them. And or nowadays, it's happening to you anyway. So if you're starting to have energetic awakening symptoms, a spiritual emergence, let's leave it at that, Kundalini it's been called traditionally, information can be helpful if it says, look, this is normal what's happening to you. A lot of my time with people in the past few years, they'd call me and they'd be going through it, and I'd go, yeah, totally normal. You're hearing the ringing in your ears, your heart palpitates, you feel like things are moving on your skin. Let's not say crawling bugs. We're not making horror movies out of it. Energy's touching you, emotional, strange fears, super awake, super tired, some depression, purging old emotions, all totally normal and an energetic awakening. Now, I can give you that information, and that'll help you some when you're in the midst of it. You go, oh, okay, this is actually part of that energy awakening, the Kundalini. I don't have to run to the doctor and be prescribed 5 prescription pills that'll shut me down and make me a zombie. But that's very different than someone who knows how to do it. Like a Muktananda came to me in spirit here about 5-6 months ago, helping me, because he's been through Kundalini. He's a Kundalini master. So he's on the other side, or everywhere now. It's not like on the other side. He's just expanded like Jesus. Many of them. And he would come and go, hey, I can help tweak that for you, because he's done that with a bunch of people. He's kind of very well trained mechanic at Kundalini. So a transmutational alchemical master is very different than an information teacher. And I'm not saying one is wrong or better. It's just a process of a gradual, eventually, on the real awakening path, or in the awakening path, you will come to the place where I have enough information. It's kind of like our society today. We have information overload. You have spiritual information overload. You've heard it all. You got the little ahas, the satoris. I get it. It's all one, blah, 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 whatever it is, It's a reflection of me. You understood it all. You got it. Understanding is standing under. I came up with that 15 years ago. Now it's everywhere. And I'm not the only one. God just puts it out and everyone picks up on it, The ego wanting credit for it is kind of fruitless, futile. Resistance is futile at this point, People that still want to copyright and control everything, you're doomed. It's like music, Napster, all that. It's all going to become available to everybody. Why? Because it is from God to everybody. So be cognizant, aware of noticing, great information, but she's just channeling it. Their personal identity hasn't gone through an alchemical transmutation yet. That's okay, but just realize they're not a master. They're an information sharer. Cool, can be really awesome. I'm doing that right now with you. So there's nothing wrong with that. And then when your alchemy starts, it's a bit of an upgrade, or it's where the rubber meets the road. It's where the yogis are screaming in the night, falling, and I'm asking and petitioning God. You cannot petition the Lord with prayer, Jim Morrison says. Anyway, you can petition the universe with your way of doing it. And I'm doing that. I'm going, can I do it while I'm still in the world so I don't have to go live in a cabin somewhere and scream like a lion in the middle of the night and freak out and that, which most shamanic awakenings don't look that clean. It's like birth. Imagine spiritual birth. You think physical birth is kind of wow, it's a little tense, it's a little sweaty, some fluids and blood and things and sweat and poop and stuff and blood and together. You think that's a little icky? It's not icky. It's beautiful, by the way. It's not icky at all. It's just our judgment of it. Well, like that, except the energies are flying all over the place. The demons, the shit, will fly up. Yesterday on my session, my vibrational session I did with my friend who's saving my life. Him and the masters are saving my life, literally. And they're honoring my petition. They showed it to me. 12 years ago in the jungles of Peru, I was petitioning in the middle of a ceremony with people screaming and calling on Jesus to save their souls and freaking out and wanting to run out and puking and shitting and pandemonium, right? They lost control of the ceremony a little bit. And I petitioned to the universe, to Aya herself, and to God. I said, there's got to be an easier way. That article may be online somewhere if you look up. There's got to be an easier way, Tobias, Lars. You may find it. May be gone, I don't know. I can't keep track of everything. I don't really care, to be honest. And so I'm getting that. They're helping me. There's an easier way. It's still touch and go. So transmutation is, instead of reading about Eat, Pray, Love, which ticks people off, that book, step out and fucking do it. When you're ready. Don't do it too soon. At my own pace. Only at your own pace. Don't be macho. Don't be spiritually macho. If this picks up right off, my phone literally overheated, which is great, right? I'm speaking of overheating, which is another potential symptom, by the way, with doing your Kundalini, is that your whole system overheats. My blood pressure went nuts. It freaked people out and so forth. Anyway, so information is great. Most teachers are giving you information. Very few have the power of offering you transformation. Now, sometimes it happens anyway because your spirit. The funniest thing to see is people coming to gurus, teachers, so forth, and they're the actual ones who have the power. The guru's got nothing. But you can't see that until you've learned to see with real eyes, until you realize it. So anyway, I'm not advocating go at your own pace. Don't push for transformation too soon. Some of the things we did in Egypt, and that's why I'm a little scared, hesitant to go back to Egypt this lifetime. We scheduled an Egypt trip, and it all got together magically. The people, it was amazing, but it got kind of interrupted a few years ago. And I can tell because in Egypt and other places, when you kind of push for transformation, whether it's with ayahuasca or the ormi or the white gold or Kundalini exercises or breathing exercises, you will trigger alchemical stuff. But if you move too fast, you'll know. And so you can go into kind of fearful places if you're trying to take on too much at once. I recommend you at my own pace, at God's and your pace, your own higher self, your soul's wise pace. But information is not the same as transmutation or alchemy. They're different. They both have their role. I recommend you start the methods that God showed me, Spirit showed me, my own higher self showed me. The first one was the inner body awakening, which is a Shiva technique, an ancient Shiva technique from Lemuria. Basically, India is a piece of Lemuria. They got pushed up against the Himalayas many thousands of years ago, but the timelines were different too. So it's not time the way we measure it exactly. Time is mutable. Time is not fixed. And so it's also called Nidra Yoga sometimes. Some people compare it to, I'd never heard of Nidra Yoga when Shiva showed this to me, the inner body, and then I heard Eckhart talk about it, Eckhart Tolle. But so I recommend starting with that, innerbodyawakening.com. That's the basic fun. I do it every day. It is just like dropping into the sea of oneness, feeling your energy merge, not thinking about it, doing it. And then the energies automatically transmute things. This morning I was transmuting a bunch of stuff still in my body. I had a huge session, vibrational session yesterday, and basically exorcisms. Let's be honest. We met the Valkyries yesterday. The Valkyries are real beings. We saw them and felt them. It was amazing. They were helping me, and I'm very grateful. All that stuff's real. All archetypes are real beings and in the other dimensions. Start with the inner body awakening. Then go to the alchemy process, which is the second product or the thing that I share with people. I recommend start with the inner body so you're solid in your energy, and then you work with alchemy, which is really working with your own power and realizing you're it. And then the heart energy, add that to it. Much love. If you're interested in the webcasts, which is on Sundays for about an hour, hour and a half, hour, somewhere in there, check out tobiaslars.com. And if you're interested in reading the book, Listening to the Sun by Tobias Lars is on Amazon. It's still selling all over the world. I really appreciate it. And it was basically a time of my transformation about 20 years ago, and I was writing down all the things that were coming in and so forth. And it's still relevant. It's still relevant. Real event. A real event. All right, much love. See how this worked with the interruption. My phone literally overheated. And I might have to go back to doing videos the old-fashioned way and editing them and so forth. But I thought I could do the live stuff and do it a little bit easier. But all right. Much love. More to come.